Hey guys, kinggath here with another patch for Sim Settlements 2. This is patch 1.0.16, which I'm calling Hoardability. And I don't care if that's a fake word, I'm using it here because it correctly explains what I want this patch to allow you to do, which is actually hoard resources. Not that I want you to have unlimited resources hoarded, but you should be able to build up a surplus. And prior to this patch, that was very difficult to do, if not impossible, due to a lot of bugs in the resource code. Now, a big shout out and thanks to CBR Gamer 2, who has been working with a lot of decompiled scripts and has found some hints as to why that was, and it got me a thread to pull on so that I could start trying to fix some of these major issues. So we'll talk more about what I fixed exactly in a moment. First, we've got to thank our patrons. So big shout out and thanks to T Dark Shadow, Danielle, Occam's Chainsaw, Animus Yosho, Robert Henry, Cole Garnish, and Alan J. Page. Now, I know I didn't name all of you guys because we had a lot of people join up in the last couple of weeks, so thank you all. It really means a lot. It's super motivating to see that there's this many people who care enough about the development of this mod that they're throwing a few bucks a month at it. It's really, really helpful and really, really exciting. And I will get to you guys in a future video. I'm just trying not to take the whole video and make half of it just naming patrons, especially because I butcher you guys so often, your names. I think I got them all today, that it would be just an embarrassing video. All right, let's get into the patch notes for today. So the resource thing is the big one, but first I'm going to knock off a couple of others. So many of you guys have noticed probably in the last couple of patches that some of your NPCs were T-posing when they went to do certain things in plots. This was my fault. Turned out that I moved some animation files, just thinking I would clean up some of our directories, and then I failed to update them in the BA2 file. So the CK knew about them, the plugin knew about the new locations, but you guys didn't have those new locations in your BA2 file. So it was a really dumb mistake. It is fixed now. The next thing on my list was for those of you guys who are Thuggiverse players, in particular Depravity. I know that there are a number of compatibility issues, and one of them we were able to fix thanks to Thuggy Smurf himself, which is the Ron will no longer just stop talking to you. So for those of you who were playing with Depravity, you probably found at some point the Ron would stop working, and so you weren't able to use his settler recruitment service, which is a pretty important feature if you want to collect all of the SS2 settlers. So that is now working with Depravity. No update to Depravity necessary. We were able to bypass the issue with a small change to SS2 that will have no negative impact and won't change any quests or anything. We were able to do it very cleanly. It's very nice. All right, then the third thing before we get into the actual patch notes is I want to talk to you Xbox players and people on who you're using Bethesda.net on PC. It turns out, and a lot of people knew about this, but I didn't, that Bethesda's servers are having some severe issues and have been for over a month now. And so most of you guys are not actually getting these patches. So if you were a PC player getting your mods through Bethesda.net, you might want to go grab it from Nexus instead. I might be wrong about that. This might be an Xbox only issue, but Xbox players, 100% this is an issue. I've tried on my own Xbox, haven't been able to download the last two patches, and some of you guys have said it's been going on for longer than that. So I've seen on the Bethesda Discord that they are working on a fix, hopefully soon, and we'll have to just wait until they get that sorted out for us. So unfortunately, you guys probably can't download the patch today, but just keep checking on your Xbox because it looks like Bethesda's got a fix coming down the pipes. Or, you know, go lend your voice on the Bethesda Discord server and try and encourage them to do it faster by yelling at them. Maybe that will work. That seems to work on Twitter. That's how you get support anymore. You just go tweet at people, and then the customer service is suddenly available to you. All right, let's talk about the meat of this patch. Now, I don't have anything fancy to show you, as you've probably gathered, because you're just seeing clips of random cinematics and settler dialogue in the background, because I wanted to not get any more distracted than I already do. So we're going to talk about the resource system. So basically, the resource system was something new introduced with SS2, and that was whereby the settlers would gather up resources through your industrial plots and use those to pay for things. So basically, instead of having just this time component, there was this resource management gameplay as well. And obviously, you guys can turn it off for those of you guys who didn't find that appealing. But we also had 3 levels of it. So the default when we were designing the new design pattern for SS2, we started out with these 4 categories: the building materials, organic materials, rare materials, and machine parts. And this was actually something we found that Bethesda had started down, and we decided to kind of resurrect and build on that idea. And we started with this idea of 4 resources, but then realized that some number of people would like more complexity. They want to go deeper with that. And so we introduced the component level, where you could actually worry about the individual resources. You'd worry about the amount of steel your settlers have, the amount of nuclear material, the amount of asbestos, etc. And then for some other people, even 4 was going to be too much, so we introduced the scrap option, which is just every junk counts evenly. Now, that involved an enormous amount of code complexity to pull off, especially to do it quickly, like things with the HUD. Having that being able to update in near real time was a real challenge. And of course, that is where a lot of bugs have emerged. Now, thanks to a forum user, CBR Gamer 2, he was able to point me to a rough area of where the problem was cropping up. And between his pointing me at something and then me throwing up some betas and him poking it some more, we eventually got to what I think is a fully solved resource system. So that means we've got everything working exactly as it should. Now, it turned out that it wasn't just with the resource code itself, but also a lot of the display code was wrong. So you would have found that some of your plot reports were incorrect. If you were using the little info box in hover mode, some of that data was going to be incorrect. And then the HUD on the resource panel on the right was often incorrect. So this involved just a massive retooling of a whole lot of stuff in regards to the resource code to get it so that it was reliable over a long period of time. Because what I would find was when I would do quick test games, it was reliable in the first few in-game days, and then it would quickly go off the rails if you would play more realistically. So if I had built up a lot more plots, I would have seen these problems cropping up sooner. So thanks to the diligence of people on the forums, we finally have some solutions to all these problems. And the great part about that is that we have had the desire to go back and do a rebalance of all of those numbers to make them flow a little better and be a little easier to build up an empire of settlements that can kind of self-sustain as opposed to feeling like you're constantly behind. So we want to get those numbers in a better place, but before we could do that, we need to have accurate data. We need to make sure that the game actually plays as it's supposed to. So now that we've made these fixes, there's a couple of things I'm going to ask you guys to do. One is go visit all your settlements, because in order to fix all of these problems that have been going on, the Sim Settlements needs to recalculate all of the information about your settlement. So it needs to load up all the plots, and if you have maintenance costs, all the vanilla, things like turrets and generators, it needs to load all that into memory, and that only happens when you go to the settlement, and then it will rebuild the daily change data, which determines how many resources you gain or lose each day. So you need to go visit all your settlements once. The second thing is, any of you guys who are thinking about a new playthrough, if you could do that, start a new playthrough with this patch and start paying attention to the resources. See how it feels. How does it feel? Does it feel like it's a struggle to get up to a good balance? Do you feel like you're constantly poor? Just get some feel now while the numbers are working correctly, because once we start getting to rebalance phase, we're going to be reaching out to the community for various bits of feedback. So those of you guys who have a fresh playthrough, fresh perspective using working resource code, will be really interested in hearing your opinions on this, because everybody else for the last, I don't know, what has it been out for, 9 months, have been tainted because the resource code has been horribly broken, apparently. All right, so that is, I think, the end of the patch notes I'm going to talk about. There's a crazy amount of patch notes. This is probably one of our biggest patches we've done as far as just raw number of little fixes. So definitely go check out the full patch notes for more details to see if the issue that you had was addressed. And I see that after the last public beta Wow, I can't speak. The last public beta posting I did, I saw a lot of people posted new bugs that I'd never seen before. So expect another big patch for 1.0.17 as well. All right, guys, now comes the time for the merch giveaway. So every patch, I like to give away some merch. And in order to get access to that merch, you got to tell me you're interested in the drawing. So to do that, you're going to use a hashtag in a comment. It doesn't matter what the comment is, as long as it's more than this hashtag. Tell me something that you like about some settlements. Tell me something you don't like about it. Tell me a bug. Tell me a funny story or something that happened to you. And it's something that'll be interesting for me to read as I'm combing through, pulling out these hashtags. And that hashtag, we're going to keep it simple. Hashtag junk. If you are interested in getting some merch. In the next 24 hours, I'm going to pull from one of those comments, and I will comment back on your comment telling you what you got to do to get access to that merch. All right, guys, take care and enjoy the mods.